all doing tonight? Are you ready for the show?
Are you kidding me?
Get comfortable, folks. You're in for a real show. And now, broadcasting live across the nation, we proudly present to you...
Oh, wow. Are you kidding me?
This just in, this just in, this just in, this just in.
Oh, wow.
A brand new sound is sweeping the airwaves, and you're hearing it here first.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Come on, folks, let's hear that applause. All right, folks, attention to the stage. The excitement starts now. And now, broadcasting live across the nation, we proudly present to you...
Here I am. Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Quite the story already. I just go to hit, like on, you guys can hear me okay, right? Hope you guys can. If you can't, there's no surprises to that at all. Sounds like it okay. Alrighty, I think we're in good shape here. Snowed in, no lights, no heat, but you got me, huh? It's the way the world should work. Right? I see a few of you are like, are you okay? Are you all rightsies? Are you all righties? I don't know. Sometimes, maybe. Possibly. Yes, I'm on. Yes, I'm on tonight. Thanks for checking in. So, yeah, technology. I don't know how we're going to do this because it's not recognizing that I have two cameras, which is what was taking me so long. So I may have to switch over to this and tell me, can you guys still hear me when I keep talking like this? And if I just start pulling over cars and going like this, it's still me. It's like, hey, everybody, it's B. Like, oh, there we go. You can hear me, I hope. All good. Okay. So, all right, back to me. So this Mercury retrograde is going to be very much about creativity. So if you are in the creative world, if you're in the creative industries, if you are trying to find new ways to kind of find solutions, hang on to your hats because it's going to be a sly one. And by the way, I am going to absolutely give each and everybody a little piece of what you should expect. Do you have your sign in your back pocket? Maybe you're rising, or are you just happy to see me? Anyways, all of those things are going to come into play today because we're going to talk about that. And this is an interesting retrograde because, first of all, it stays in Pisces, the Mercury retrograde. You also have Neptune and Saturn conjunct. If you haven't seen what Penny and I have to say about that, you might want to check that out next. This is a very unique time for creativity to get it together and problem solving. I mean, what is creativity but problem solving, right? And one of the things that I think we have to kind of recognize with this kind of pattern is that if you've been avoiding stuff, if you've been avoiding solutions, we all know that one or two people in our lives that like will continuously embrace the garbage fire, and they'll be the one holding the match that's going, why is my life like this? And you're like, well, because you use matches to put out fires, right? or gasoline, either way. Well, hello, everybody. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Rita. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Sabrina. Look at this. Sweet Deedly Dee. Oh, did we change our name again? Laura, hello. Kay Urick, hope you're safe. Kathy, good to see you. Yeah, for sure. Elaine, hello. Elizabeth, how are you? And Deanne, thanks so much for joining the channel. That's awesome. Oh, by the way, I can't comment on anything right now because YouTube thinks that I did some sort of, I'm going to delete the comment. I can't put the user in timeout. That would be putting my channel in timeout. But it thinks I'm spam. It's like, come on, guys. Come on. We're all going to the mattresses. Yeah. I mean, kind of in a way. Like, so it depends upon what your avoidance is, right? If you're Gemini and you avoid everything, it's going to bite you in the ass. Sagittarius, yep, it's going to show up. But if you're, it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. It just means like now you got to deal, right? So let's. But first of all, this is so much of. Oh, I got to remove this, and then I remove that, and then I add this to this. Oh, look at that. That's kind of. If you're Pisces, though, this is the way the last couple of years have gone. 7-year cycle of just what the fuck. Let's see. Let's do Brandon's timeline. 2019, I was developing a show for Viacom, and then all of a sudden, 2020 hit. Oh, do you guys still have? Can you guys still hear me? You should be able to hear me. Somebody tell me you can hear me. Okay, good. Thanks, Rachel. So, yeah, so Pisces really dealt with this. Thank you, guys. Pisces have kind of dealt with this. By the way, this has more to do with Neptune going through Pisces. So as it comes out of this, and it's kind of like the bah, and now we're like already at takeoff. We just gotta jump in, right? But anyways, a word from our sponsors. If you're in the upstate New York area, you might want to see the free sound healing this Saturday. Every year, about the time of my birthday, I like to do something for everybody else. Well, let me tell you something. This is what I'm doing for them today. Our good friends over at the Cohoes Library just happen to have an opening and just happen to be okay with being able to say to me, yeah, B, go ahead, bring in all your stuff. Come in, do a little sound healing. It'll be a little fun. We like libraries. We like to support them in any way possible. Do you know why? Because it's the right thing to do. Also, if we don't support them, who the hell else is? Lord knows the government can't get out of its own way. But if you were to dress up a library, say, as like, I don't know, Greenland or Iran, they would be highly interested in it. More on that in a moment. So hope to see you guys there. Bring a mat if you got one. If not, they got plenty of chairs. Put your feet up, throw on a blanket, snooze around, all that other good stuff. My friends down in Florida coming to see you. I got to tell you, the Punta Gorda, which is actually, it's in Port Charlotte, but when you know that area, they're like right next door to each other. They're like right on top of each other. Anyways, this one's almost sold out. Where the one up in Palm Harbor, plenty of good seats available. My dad and I will be at both of them. Both of them will be going. We'll be going to this one right after the Yankee game. And you're like, Brandon, how do you do that? Because I'm a professional. I run on hot dogs. Number 2. Yankees v Twins. Just so happened we're landing on the day that they're playing in Steinbrenner. Cheers to all of you. And then our good friends down here in, they're really in Port Charlotte. I said Punta Gorda, but it just looks cleaner. Anyways, that's almost sold out. You want to jump into that. And then up here in upstate New York, I actually have 2 events right now, but please hang on. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot how this is. April the 3rd and then April 18th. April the 3rd, I'm going to be down in Sydney. So if you're down in the Oneonta area, if you are in the Ithaca area, that's a great place to go. The Community Cultural Center. I have a feeling I'm going to be going back there quite a bit. It's April the 3rd, Good Friday, if you're keeping track of the Christian calendar. And then the Amsterdam Elks, they asked me to come on board and do some fundraising for them this year for their benefit for the Elks 101 charity. These guys do a lot of great stuff in the community. They work with a lot of diverse groups. I give them 10 out of 10 with that. Thank you so much for being part of it. Yeah, I know. Look at me all with the anime drawing. I just figured I'd like mix it up a little bit. So again, we're going to see you this Saturday at the Cohoes Public Library. See all our friends there. And then down in Florida, see me and Nate down there. We'll be wearing the Twins gear. And then you'll see me in upstate New York here in April. I have dates to announce in other states, but I just have to sign contracts this week. So people in, say, Atlanta might want to get ready. People in Chicago might want to get ready. Our old friends down in Austin. And of course, Portland. Portland's a little dicey, though. Might have to make 2 trips. Anyways. Do a live for the sound healing. I might be able to do that. Yeah, Kathy, it's funny. It's going to end up being a different trip. I thought I was going to do it together, but I'm going to bring my son. So we just kind of want one flight there, one flight back. But I'll get there. Don't worry. I'm not going to go down there during like the high times though. Oh, that's why I was having trouble with this. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get the other camera on now. Son of a bitch. Am I past 10 minutes? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what in the world are we looking at right here astrologically, right? I have no problem cutting me out of this. You guys can hear me okay, right? Anyways, so what you're seeing here in the great big dial in the sky, you are seeing February the 26th. So we're in a couple of days here, a couple of 3 days. This is when Mercury begins to go retrograde. This is when it goes station, starts to go in reverse. Now, again, just so that everybody remembers, it is the optical illusion of Mercury going backwards in the sky. It is not actually going backwards in the sky. That would be bad. By the way, what are the 3 things that will never go retrograde? Number 1 is the sun. If the sun goes retrograde, women and Brandon first. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If the moon goes retrograde, it also means something is going horribly wrong. And if the earth starts running backwards, also pole shifts notwithstanding. By the way, Weekly B tomorrow is going to be about Edgar Casey. If you'd like to sign up, go to my website, go find it. Just type in Weekly B, you'll find it. Anyway, so Mercury goes retrograde, and I wanted to let you guys know. Do you guys got your pens and paper together? You got your stuff together? By the way, this will be an awesome sound clip, and we'll break this up and we'll send it out to everybody. So if you're in Aries, yeah, I'm going to go right in order. We're going to end with the best, though. We're going to end with Pisces. You guys okay with that? I figured you would be. You know why? It's my goddamn show. I know. If you're a student, you are conditioned to have your notebook ready and handy at all times. By the way, if you are looking for the link for Weekly B or the Intuitive Development, please see the Pages and Cups. You guys know how to get in there. Now, Mercury retrograde is bumping back up against. It's going to get really close to Neptune. It's going to get really close to Saturn. And a couple of things I want to point out here. First of all, notice that Saturn's starting to pull away from Neptune already. It's got nice progression. Now, it will go into retrograde. It will become conjunct again, or at least near conjunct. But, you know, Saturn's going to Saturn. Mercury is moving in retrograde. It's going to go back to a full conjunct of Venus in about 4 days after this. And then it's going to move back and it's going to conjunct the sun again because the sun's going to keep, moving forward as well. Remember, no retrogrades for the sun. The thing about this being in Pisces, the archetype of Pisces is that this is like your spiritual revolution. Pisces is the 12th house. Spicy is that Spices. Spices. That's what we're going to call them from now on. They're not Pisces, they're Spices. Yeah, I'm totally getting saucy on the GD show. Thanks for that one, Bill. But here's the thing. Pisces position, Pisces doesn't rub any one of the signs the wrong way, but it will drop truth bombs. So it's kind of like, depending upon your spiritual evolution, your, let's just say, emotional IQ, your spiritual IQ, depending upon where you are in the cycle, depends upon how much you go, oh, that wasn't very nice. I also want to point out that the moon and Jupiter are conjunct here as well, kind of for this. And again, it lasts for about a day and a half where that conjunct happens. That is going to be some supercharged emotions as Mercury goes retrograde. So recognize too that you're going to want to punch something. Make sure it is not anything with legs, right? I don't want to hear anybody hitting any tables or anything else with legs. Understood? Second, it is also an opportunity to review things for creative solutions, because Pisces, being a mutable sign, is all about solutions. You might not like our solutions, right? But it is 100%. All right, that made me laugh. Yes, Dad. All right, as long as you don't escalate that to anything else, we can stay right there. So here's one of the things that I want you guys to recognize too. This is a real opportunity. That's my point. It's a real opportunity. You're all bad. All right, Aries, you're first up. This is 100% a call for you to chill out. This is a slowdown. This is you taking some self-care moments, right? And part of that includes your ability to know when you're supposed to give things up and know when you're supposed to put your effort into it, right? You've got to be at peace with your actions, Aries. So recognize that. Now, Taurus, this is interesting. You want to look at where you're at in the humanitarian phase of life, because you have been like, I know I'm good. I know I'm awesome. I know that I'm supposed to help other people at the end of the day. So it's just not about you, Taurus. It's about how you can help other people. Let's not lose sight of that one. Gemini, fun as always, for crying out loud. You are also getting, and by the way, this is in alignment with the 10th house. In case you were wondering, Aries, you're aligned with the 12th house on this one. Taurus, you're aligned with the 11th house. Now, Gemini, you're in alignment with the 10th house. So your focus is going to be career, which is rare for you, but you're also going to be in a spot where you're like, this is about purpose. You know, career to a Gemini energy isn't the corporate ladder. It is the corporate messaging. It is the corporate branding. It is the corporate, how are we able to philanthropize what we do into what we're doing? So Gemini, you're going to find purpose in what you're doing and how you're doing it. Don't be surprised if you quit your job though. This is your square on this one. So this one could kind of be like holding up your goldfish, or in this case, your Pisces fish, and saying, who's coming with me? Anyways. And by the way, it's been building up for a long time. Okay. Now, Cancer, you're going to actually want to leave the house, which is, who are you? Who are you? But this is about you saying, you know what? I want to be able to kind of like see where things are in life. You want to prove things to yourself, right? You want to become aware of things. You want to learn things. This could be everything from taking a new class to, buying that ticket to San Jose. I don't know where you go. But it's the idea that, in Raiders of the Lost Ark, when he said, X does not mark the spot, you got to get out there and live a little. That's you right now, Cancer. Now, Leos, everything's a little off. It's just the way it is. Leos are going to have a little bit of a difficult time in this one, not so much because of Pisces being, that kind of mutable idea, but it has to do with the fact that it's just adjacent. You're just not lined up. We're like Virgo, and we're going to talk about, Virgo here in a second. Virgo knows opposition. Leo's kind of like are you against me? Are you with me? What are we doing here? Right? So this is a time to get in touch with your instincts again. This is you being able to trust what you're getting, and it's in a very uncomfortable place in the 8th house for you, because what's happening in the 8th house is death, sex, and taxes, things that you don't, if you're not uber in control of, you need to feel like you're getting in control, right? So this is a chance to really kind of enlighten who you are in things. So, expect some spiritual growth with this here, Leo, but just let everybody know that your reaction really does matter, and how you react to things are a big deal, because big heart, right, Leo? Big heart. Take a deep breath, right? No shock value stuff. Now, Virgo, you're really in a position. This is fun. This is kind of the relationship positioning for you, which also means that you're going to take a look at, like, who really gets me, who really understands me, who's the Thelma to my Louise, who is the one that's going to be, and by the way, it's not a wholesale change, but it is a reality check. So if that person that always seems to come around when they need to borrow money, you're going to really realize that and be like, I ain't doing that anymore. I'm just not doing that anymore. You can appreciate somebody and keep them at arm's length. This is about right sizing relationship times. Okay. So now Libras have a bunch of stuff that have been acting on them for a while. So this is actually an opportunity to center themselves. When a Libra is staying home during this Mercury retrograde, do not take it personally. They are centering themselves. They kind of have to take a look at who they are. They get drained somewhat easily. They have a low threshold. They're great when their energy's up, but when it's down, it's just kind of a little bit meh. They're going to take timeouts really, really readily. And part of the reason why they're doing that is so that they can really get going by the time Taurus season comes up, which is kind of an important thing for them. What? I don't like any of that. Why is this doing this? Oh, I know why, because I was trying to be all kind of cool about it. And of course, I lost where my notes were. So anyways, where were we? Oh, yeah, Scorpio. And meanwhile, half of you are being Scorpio about the whole thing and going like, I was next. All right, Scorpio, calm down. Put it away. Nobody likes to see that. This is actually a great placement. Remember when I was saying about creativity and that sort of thing? Huge spot for Gemini. Just ginormous spot for Gemini. Do you know why? Because guess why? Because Gemini or because Scorpio is absolutely loving this landing in its 5th house. This is going to be creative central. This is about, by the way, if you want to decorate a new place, or if you want to decorate the old place, if you want to be able to pull yourself together and be like, I can make these curtains work. I don't know what your flavor is. 100%, right? But you're going to see a different vision for where you're supposed to go. But it's going to be a little bit of an artistic journey. It doesn't necessarily have to have the same elements that you had before. Now, Sagittarius, boy, the family sucks sometimes, doesn't it? The square that's going on for you in this, being that you are in the South Node square, is that is up against your 4th house. Pisces always likes to give a hard time to Sag. Sorry. And likewise, Sagittarius giving it back. But when it comes to family, this is going to hit pretty hard. You want to find common ground, though, because this is happening to push conversations. It's an awkward thing. So you may have a few minutes and a few moments of like awkward conversation. Just know that it's worth it in the long run if you have the conversation, right? It's not really about making sure that we're how different we are. It's like what we are in the same, right? All right, Capricorns. Geez Louise, why you got to be like this, Cappy? You know, your communication has always been sus. Let's be honest. However, you don't have to be hyper vigilant in messaging. In other words, you don't have to be so on top of it that you're inadvertently responding to things that just didn't make sense, or you're responding in a way that you don't you're going to regret down the road. Take your time. Let's just be like, I'm going to take a simple, gentle, deep breath in before I hit send, before I hit reply all. That's kind of a little bit of the risk. All right. So Aquarius, time to get your money in order, Aquarius. Sorry. You've really kind of had this challenge for a while, and you're frugal in the most insane things. Like you'll drive an extra 2 miles to save a penny in gas. I said what I said, right? This is just a time to really measure twice and cut once. Make sure you do your due diligence if you do have a big purchase. If I was an Aquarius, I would not be buying a new car right now. I would not be closing on a house. I would be kicking the tires. I would be reading contracts. I would be shopping different lease options or whatever it is that your brand is. But you've really got to have a lot of scrutiny with this, or it's going to go upside down. In Pisces. Oh, sweet Pisces. This is a really good time to speak up when the relationship isn't in your benefit. This is also a really good time for you to be able to say it like it is, which is a rarity for you, Pisces. Is this a mirror? You'll be able to express yourself in a way that you normally don't, which is to say that you'll be clear and cognizant and not be over emotional, which is sometimes kind of the challenge, where it's kind of like I don't want to say that because I don't want to be right. I don't want anybody to be upset with me, right? Well, is he Aquarius, Rachel? Why am I busting your chops? I'm busting everybody's chops. You follow yet? I mean, I'm having a good time with it. Your moon? Well, just don't get emotional about it, right? So here's how everything I just said can affect you. If it's in your rising, know that you can overdo it in any one of those situations. So let's say you're a Leo rising and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to double down on this, or I've got to, really kind of push this through. If you're Scorpio, you could be like, I'm going to decorate this, and first I'm going to strip all paint, and then I'm going to paint it in several different layers, even though you can't see it. I know it's there. And then if you're Aquarius, you could be like, oh my God, I'm not going to touch anything. I don't care. I'll walk to work for a month. It's Mercury retrograde. I don't need a car. You don't have to be extreme, right? What you can be is prudent. Now, if it's your moon, caution about your emotions. If you're an Aquarius moon, don't give in to impulsive purchases. That's what that would translate to. Can you still make a purchase? 100%, but don't fall in love with a car. If you're going car shopping to your Aquarius moon, don't be like, I just want it. Right? If you are, let's just say a Gemini moon, you're going to have some really amazing, clear, cognizant conversations at work. I feel like you need to help me get there. I want to see myself with this company for a long time. Show me a path in which I can get there. Salary last, roles first, right? In ADHD Aquarius, I don't know if you know this or not, but there's an entire support group for that. And there's a lot more than you think. Right? Yeah, so it's funny, Kay Urich, I know that this has come up before with you, where Pisces rising and Sagittarius sun, you are in a square dynamic with becoming who you are. You either get super motivated or you get really defeated, right? Stop, Elaine. Stop. Nobody ever finds the answers with your head in the sand, unless you're looking for crabs. Hello. That's my kind of take on astrology. What do you guys think? We kind of okay with this? Oh my gosh. She doesn't need your help, Rachel. I'm just having fun with all of you. So let me try this one more time. I'm going to remove this from the studio, and then I'm going to add this in, and then I'm going to say no. Good. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Hope you like my description. So let's roll out some cards. I do want to be a little political. I know you guys are always looking for my takes on things. I think the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping is political in nature. I'm just going to say it like it is now. I think we need to be very cautious about being negative or hopeful. I also think that this is going to go, I get the number of days versus the number of years. In other words, 84. I think we're on day 20 now, 27. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. So second, it's what's going on with the Epstein files. First of all, if you do not have a strong constitution and you don't know how to shut things off after you see or view it, don't even look. Just don't even look. It is about as bad as you could imagine. And what is the thing I want everybody to take away from this, and you guys know my stance on protecting children and certainly child abuse in general. I don't know that that's the actual story. And listen, I'm not giving anybody a slide here. I mean, it's the few hot buttons that I can tell you I have a very non-negotiable with. Like there's no excuse for this to have gone on as long as it has. And I will tell you, it was really baited and compromised. We go back to the thing of Bill Clinton, being caught with Monica Lewinsky, and then you throw up your hands and you go, well, he's, it's between two adults and it's this, that, and the other thing. It sent a signal to the nefarious that he could be compromised. That's really what's been going on for the last 35 years in the White House. And I don't think Bush is innocent, but I think he was a patsy. I don't think Clinton he's a perpetrator. I think Obama was selectively conditioned to say, so long as I'm great at the end of the day, I don't really care. I think Biden, by proxy, had some of that on his shoes. And then I think Trump, it's amazing to think that Trump and all of this would have gotten away with it had he just swallowed his pride and not run for re-election. That to me is insane. You want to talk about the highest form of gluttony? Putting yourself back out there and having the arrogance thinking that you'll never get caught when you know full well all it takes is one email to leak. Right? but I think it's going to be a great reset. And one of the indicators that I think we should be okay with in all of this is that the Supreme Court, and again, I keep going back to this, like, we have these levers, we have to wait for them to enact. The Supreme Court basically turned to the congressional arm and representation of our government and said, what the fuck are you guys doing? What the fuck are you doing? Was basically what they said with that. They said no to Trump, but they're like, we should not have had to come in here with our belt, like a dad threatening whatever. And of course, they don't want to be put in a bad position because they don't want, his wrath. But at the end of the day, there is one of the levers got moved. And that lever was, you guys need to get your act together. We saved you one more time, because the value system is that all three branches can't fail at the same time. That is the only thing that keeps us together, is that one of the three will always catch all, And by the way, that comes down to things like pardons, which he has been selling wholesale. And when you bring that up, it's like, well, Biden did it. No, he didn't fucking do it. Not like that. Did somebody make some money somewhere? Probably. But it wasn't the most egregious people on the planet. We have a very broken system. And by the way, the only way that you fix a broken system is to test it and break it. Right? As somebody that has worked in operational management and being able to understand what makes a good system is testing it and breaking it. Right? UFOs are the distraction. Iran is going to be the distraction, which, by the way, is going to be one of the questions that I'm going to ask the cards tonight. Iran, and I haven't said it now, and we're at 36 minutes and 59 seconds, 37 minutes. I think it's safe. The congruent conversation about the e-files, PHILES, is how compromised we are as a country and how much Israel has been pushing our buttons for a really long time. And I will tell you that the first bombing in Iran was Benjamin Netanyahu was in Washington to make it very clear that we needed to side with Israel. And we ended up bombing their nuclear facilities. Then Netanyahu shows up here in the United States, and then all of a sudden, that's all of the files you guys are going to get. Do you know how many Epstein files there are? I'm going to give you a hint. There have been over, 130,000 documents or 380,000 documents. I don't even know what it is anymore. But the percentage that sticks in my mind is that it's 2% of the total information. 2%. 2%. This is going to go down bad. And by the way, if they haven't been named yet, they will be. I'm a little surprised that they haven't had... I'm waiting for Trump's daughter to be named in the files. By the way, that's what I think they were really scrubbing. I think they were scrubbing Eric's name and Junior's name. I think those are the things that got scrubbed. And then you get things posted, and then they get pulled, and then fucking... Oh, that's kind of fun. You guys are getting to know each other. Then you have this tariff thing where now he's like, oh yeah, I can't have my tariffs. I'm gonna do it again. And again, this is where the levers of government come in, and sure, he can do it, but it's only 150 days or whatever it is. He doesn't understand that it's a tax on people. He doesn't understand that it actually affects our buying power. Well, in the meantime, he has 100% negated the US dollar. Like, bad. I've been saying it before. I'm going to say it again. The dollar is only worth what you have in your hand. Please take it out of the bank. I'm not looking to corrupt the system. I'm not looking to collapse it. Make sure that you have enough cash on hand to get through for any banking failures that might come along. Because the first thing they're going to do is shut down the digital. And then they lock the doors. And then you're left with pennies and nickels out of your couch to go buy anything that you might need. I'm just telling you that it's in the forecast. Could it last 3 days? Could it last 3 weeks? Could it last 3 years? I don't know. I don't know. But I am saying these things to you guys because I care. Make sure that you have some cash on hand. Got it? What we're also seeing is how much everyone that is colluding in this. Pam Bondi definitely has a special place in hell at this point. One of the things that she has to really kind of come clean with is why she let Trump go way back when. She had evidence on her desk to look deep into. She was the Florida Attorney General. West Palm Beach was her jurisdiction. Anyone? Bueller? So you also have the Lex Wessner. I don't think Bondi is a victim. I think Trump has a type. You know, it's funny. I made a post on Facebook and I knew it wasn't Pam Bondi, but everybody's like, oh yeah, see that? It's, there. Part of it was a test to see if anybody ever corrected it. And of course, the MAGA was like, this isn't even her. This is a supermodel. This is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but he's got a type. Do you remember when he thought that E. Jean Carroll was Marla Maples? He's got a type. He's got a type that he goes after. He's got a type he surrounds himself with. And by the way, they all look like his daughter. Like, and by the way, this is part of the reason why he's aligned himself with the Christian nationalists, because they align themselves with daughter rearing and all that other just I'm speechless how like corrupt that is and how not okay it is and how unsafe it is for kids to grow up in that environment. I mean, they're all over the internet. There's a lot of these. One of the ones that ended up in my feed was Miscavish's daughter, who left Scientology and was basically like, I was being groomed not only to be a wife, but to be somebody that would cover for them. And it's like, guys, this is the I mean, every single. Okay, I'm going to say it. So the pizza scandal ends up being something very adjacent, but it wasn't the literal scandal. It was that they use pizza and food terminologies in the thing. So that's what they would leak out. So then it would have cover. So then somebody would chase a pizza place in DC that has no basement. Right. And then they throw at their, it is April 9th, 10th, 11th. It's that weekend. And I'm going to be at a place. It's a science and technology museum. It's kind of cool. But it's we've really lost the plot with a lot of these conspiracy theory stuff. And there were 3 emails that were directly asking questions about insider information on 9/11. One of them asked about where are the real pilots, which the conspiracy to that is that those were remote control planes. And then since then, 3 of the quote hijackers have been found alive. One of them didn't even leave Lebanon. I mean, fucking come on, guys. And by the way, this is how inept are we as a surveillance community? By the way, Jeffrey Epstein has been photographed in Jerusalem as recently as 2 weeks ago. Ghislaine Maxwell was stopped on the street in London. Right. Zorro Ranch was now purchased and now scrubbed, and it was a quick dump. So when you change, so I know this from my investigation stuff. When you find, let's just say you have a cold case, and the person that owned the building or property is accused, but you can never find any evidence. Well, one of the ways that they can seal it so that then nobody else, a plane did not hit the Pentagon, Janet. I will stand behind that. But you can cover it up by doing a quick sale. And therefore, then you have to get permission from the landowner. The landowner can do an injunction to keep you off that property because it's an ongoing investigation, because then you might accuse them. There's a whole thing. There's a whole thing to stuff like that. Back on the 9/11 thing, I've done over 30,000 readings in my career. I have met no less than 50 people. And by the way, I'm lowballing that, but I'm going to spitball it. 50 people that have had ties to the World Trade Center towers. Every single one of them was inside. Now, I understand that it's a smaller population. I understand that there were less people in the planes than there was in the building. However, I'm going to say this flat out. I have not met a single person that has had a passenger on any one of those flights. And I am a beacon of people trying to find peace with sudden death. And I have not met one person connected to any of the flights. Just letting that sink in a touch. Again, does that mean that I've read everybody? Nope. But my proximity, I was actually very busy. I remember one week I had 5 families come to me. I've not gone to Shanksville. Shanksville is actually quite far away from me because it's closer to Ohio than it is New York. Yeah, I think it's interesting that the energetic boundary of parts of Pennsylvania, whether it's where, dipshit staged his shooting. Oh, by the way, I think we're going to get a full disclosure about the dog and pony show that happened on that August day for him to be, his assassination attempt. It's complete bullshit. The good news is that it's all going to come out. And it might not, the only reason why anybody ever goes to jail is 2 reasons. Number 1 is because a person says, I did it, let's cop a plea. There was a CIA operative thing to that, and they were told to stand down. That's what I think about the latest shooter. Oh, Elizabeth, this is the first that I've heard of it. Okay. Elizabeth has a friend that was on one of the flights as a stewardess. Okay. You're literally now, we're how many years? We're this far away from 9/11, and this is the first person that I've heard from that. Okay. Where was I in this? So, but I think it's interesting that Pennsylvania is a challenging area. I think Ohio is a challenging area. I think the Bears should move to Indiana and change their name. I think that you see, I mean, it's also not a surprise that Minneapolis was where you've had not 1 but 2 ICE murders. This was also, it wasn't called Prince and the Let's All Get Along. It was Prince and the Revolution. That Minneapolis has a polite way of telling you to go fuck off all the time. Right? That's kind of one of the things that is a defining characteristic of people of Minnesota, particularly of that area. And hospitality, but not, they make it, they give you comfort, but they don't make it comfortable. And it is upstream from Memphis. It is upstream from New Orleans, and I think it has more to do with the Mississippi Valley, River Valley, than it does anything else. But then you've got the tributaries that come in from Pennsylvania and Ohio that lead into it. I think there's an energetic vein that goes on to this, and that's why it's called the Heartland. And one of the things about all of this shady stuff that's coming out is how much we have, the fixers are coming, guys. We're here. We're waiting for the smoke to clear. And there's a fight to be had when it comes to the details, because now we know what happens when you leave loopholes. And I think that we really need judicious people in judicious seats. And I think that we're going to have a wholesale turnover in Congress, in any representation. And I think our state governments are going to become states are going to become more prolific in their decision making and how we manage money in this country. We spend a lot of money on bombs that, quite frankly, we never should leave. And by the way, Donald Trump has done a great job of neutering us. He has wholesale neutered us in 18 months. 100%. So 9/11 is why your son went to West Point. That's about an hour and 20 from me. Beautiful part of the country. But let's be honest. People that, I mean, what skullduggery do they work within? What's the first thing they do? They go after your character. Brandon, we know that you've had Taco Bell 472 times since turning 23. Yeah, and you don't tip any of them. And then you said, have a nice day. So you said it with a wink. The scandal. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Do you remember the piece of shit Rush Limbaugh? Who, by the way, set the tone in the temple and the template for how these crybaby bitches call us crybaby bitches. I'm sorry, I was busy being a man. What was the thing that he, whenever it got tough, he would always go back to, well, maybe it's just because I love this country. Well, understand, he had one purpose. And by the way, if you celebrate the guy, it's because you like chaos. It's because you weren't standing on morals and principles. You're trying to bash the other side, because this is all he ever did. He would disguise it as that. Thanks for your opinion. Thanks for tuning in, Joyce. But it's understanding too. Well, listen, understand this, that it was a true attempt at somebody with marginal talent. Oh, I'm sorry, talent on loan from God. There's no ego there at all. I had to pull Rush Limbaugh's chart and figure out what was really wrong with him. Watch his chart look like mine. Thank you very much. Good night. Of course he called you a feminazi, because he learned those words. He didn't come up with that himself, right? My late husband. So he could laugh? Was he laughing at the content, or was he laughing at the preposterousness? Could have been either. And listen, as somebody that was a salesman, I listened to him all the time, right? And then I realized that my identity was not that. He taught toxic masculinity, right? And it's, there's a part to it that, it was the way we consumed information then. Think about Joe Rogan. And by the way, Joe Rogan, who is it? Sean, what's his name? Who's had some pretty good interviews. I mean, he's right wing, but he's had some great interviews. Even Tucker, to a certain degree, they are kind of sort of backtracking. Tucker had Huckabee on, and Huckabee is like, you're an anti-Semite. Or Cruz was like, you're an anti-Semite. He goes, I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm questioning why Israel is getting all this power. Right? And then he goes, well, you're anti-Semitic. He goes, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. I listen, Tucker Carlson is a tool. He's an absolute tool. Right? However, he is actually asking some really good questions right now. And by the way, you can be an absolute asshat, but when you ask good questions, and you watch what happened, on late night television, once again, Colbert gets his interview pulled because it doesn't give equal time. Meanwhile, there's no equal time to give. There's nobody running against him. So it's kind of like, and it's a rule that never gets enforced because it all comes out in the wash because it's in a specialty thing, right? But you have all of these things that if you don't subscribe to it or you question it, all of a sudden you're in the outcast. And my point being is that every good authoritarianist needs a very congealed center. He doesn't have that anymore. He just doesn't have it. It started to wobble when Elon left, and Elon went trolling somebody else's wife. I think it was Stephen Miller's. And then Trump comes out and says he's, quote, banging his assistant. Didn't we bring charges against Clinton for this? Like, it's so unscrupulous. It's not even funny. But here's the good news. CBS, NBC, ABC, spineless. We do not have news channel outlets anymore. We just don't. But what we do have are things like the Bulwark. What we do have is things like TYT. And again, I don't agree with all of them. The Midas Touch is another one. About a year ago, I had actually talked to the team at Midas Touch to do some spiritual embarking type of things before the election, and Marianne Williamson was in the fold and was making herself known. They're like, we kind of want some representation here. Can you do this and talk about it without confusing us with charts, graphs, and all that other stuff? And in that conversation, I said, that's great. And they said, well, we sometimes often take a line and we know not to cross it, because if we're going to cross it, we want to head it off in a strategic way. And I could understand it, but also the word censorship comes out of that. And they reserved the right to do that. We parted as friends. It was 2 conversations, maybe 3. And it was funny because it would have been like a group shot type of thing with Penny, and it would have been cool, but it didn't work out. But we have to start looking at how we consume news too, because we've been wholesale manipulated on it. I'm sorry, am I trying to fix everything at once? It sounds like it. And can we just bring back PBS? How the fuck did we lose Sesame Street and all of this? Like, that's the thing. Yeah, they are, no kidding. But we have to start like making it abundantly clear how we want this to look. And maybe we were too passive because things were a little too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I took for absolute granted that PBS was going to keep going. The Sesame Street was going to be around for the kids type of thing. And when that gets Elmo did take sides. Elmo takes sides. I'm going to roll out some cards on tarot. I'm going to tarot. Breathe, Pisces. Breathe. We're going to turn over some happy cards. I'm going to be doing these cards based on Bob Ross reading tarot. We're going to make some happy mistakes. We're going to have some trees. I might even have a squirrel in my pocket. I'd forgotten he had a squirrel in his pocket. And I saw one video. It was an AI thing. And I started laughing. I go, I think this is real. And sure enough, it was real. It's just they happened to embellish it with an AI video. Because I think he was like sitting in a tree with the squirrels in his pocket. And it was kind of showing that the squirrels had taken him in as his own. Anyways. I'm going to change my camera. Do let me know if there's a disruption here. There we go. You should be able to hear me even though you can't see me. Correct? You guys can hear me? I'm still talking. So, I'm not going to ask the question, are tariffs bad? I want to know what the outcome is of Trump's tariff policy. Look at that. By the way, this is also a mile marker. This is also a fucking mile marker because this is his delineation of when it got struck down. It's the timing of it, right? It was 2 days ago. Was it? Yeah. It was the 20th. So this is the first decan of Pisces, and it's the 8 of Cups. Guess what? It means loss. It means bullshit venture. Uh-oh. Here comes the Hierophant. Here comes the big arrogant Taurus. But it's kind of like you will worship me one way or the other. It's kind of an arrogance, really. And then we have how it's going to affect the world. We're going to bring in our old friends over here at Snoopy. Coffee talking. I like that. Coffee talking. I'm doing a little shuffle here. You know, that's the other thing too. It's like you guys can't keep these reads are so amazing sometimes that like the last thing I want is somebody to be like, oh no, that wasn't. So see, I'm doing this on camera. Whew. All right. So talk to us about the 8 of Cups. The World card. Yeah, this is everybody loses. Everybody fucking loses with tariffs, asshole. Sorry, was that my outside voice? Here we go. The Hierophant. What does this mean? Oh, imbalance. There's no balance. This is the 6 of Pentacles, which traditionally means an even balance of give and take. Of course it isn't. The Emperor has no clothes, guys. 5 of Wands. Guess what? We're all fighting. World War III. That's what this is. Calm down, everybody. That's not really what I'm saying, but it's kind of what I'm saying. You guys can't see me right now, but I'm smiling ear to ear because I just want to say this is turmoil upon turmoil upon turmoil. Mm-hmm. That's a great question, Lenny. Let's keep going with this. What will it mean for the financial future of the United States? Oh, shit. But what about after that? Oh, that just means we're going to have to get in good with Canada. Yeah, well, fuck you. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys are still here? So, Lenny asked a very good question. Oh, oh, oh God. All right. Let's take it from left to right. So the question was, will this bankrupt the United States? What will it mean to us financially? Well, the Five of Cups is a definite loss. In other words, a weakening of the dollar. And then what does this mean right here? What does the Seven of Pentacles means? It means it's a reap but never sowing reward type of thing. So in other words, spinning your wheels, never really getting to where you need to. It's a bunch of people going, we're number one and we couldn't be prouder. If you can't hear us, we'll yell a little louder. And that doesn't actually help us. Right? It's funny you should say that. Somebody just said, is Canada the angel card? This is a partnership of us with hat in hand. The Nine of Swords or the Nine of Wands is us saying, it's a Peggy Lee song. I'm sorry, so sorry. We understand that we may have overstepped our boundaries just a little bit, but we're hurting over here. And then you get the Devil card, which is the only card to pull right here, because it means that we are going to have to come to fruition to understand that we need to make better choices. The Seven of Cups comes in, chimes in. Wow. It's a real thing. That's a real thing. So bankrupt, no. Are we going to lose our value? Yeah. Are we going to need to yeah, I like this Canadian kind of poll here. Which, by the way, how funny would this be if Prince Andrew testifies and spills the beans? And by the way, if you're a 66-year-old disgraced prince, you don't got a lot of career options. You don't have a lot of career options, right? You just don't. So why not sing? Why not let the worst of the worst be known? It's my Pisces cup. Right? All right, Sabrina. Okay. Mm-hmm. 15% less. The 35 you illegally charged me, which means that you still owe me. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That is definitely Trump map. All right, let's talk a little bit about. I want to go over the e-files here. And again, if you don't have a strong constitution, do not read them yourself. I'm going to do a one spot here in the middle of it, so keeping everybody honest. And I'm also going to bring in some, listen, before we go there, I want to point out one thing. Everybody does realize that by the United States government releasing all of the Epstein files, they're releasing evidence that can no longer be used in court. And by the way, you guys going through it, me going through it, other people going through it, we're basically doing their job for them. Why do we have them? Remember that while you're filing your taxes and you're like, should I claim this? Yeah, I can claim everything. Your electricity bill technically should be a complete 100% write-off because you use it for everything else that you do. Right? Oh, that's wonderful. I think we're going to see some new friends down there in Florida. I see some tickets going out the door. Yay. So with that in mind, let's do some rolls. This to me is the financial codependency card, by the way. The rocky waters behind it. It could mean that you're tethered to somebody, but it could also mean that you are financially obligated. So comes in the Page of Cups right here. This is going to be cold. All of this is cold. Right? By the way, it needs, in order to prosecute him and make sure that he could never be in line to be king, he needs, I think, 5 countries to sign off. One of them is Canada. Ooh, Ace of Wands. This is a lack of control. This is they no longer have control over the information. Okay, that can be some good things. Whew. Boy, this is an Age of Aquarius moment. Their lack of love is the lesson for the Age of Aquarius. By the way, the King of Swords, also an Age of Aquarius card with the Page of Wands. So this is about recreating a standard that will never fall back into a pattern like this. There is some hierarchical reason why this would, it's not as charming. It's a hell torture type of thing. This is, being tied, being compromised with the Ace of Wands in reverse just means that human hands are going to mess this up. Human hands. Now, how will the United States deal with the Epstein files? We kind of know how the other ones are doing it. Oh, we just think it's fucking great. We think that this is also a disinfectant. Here comes the sun. In reverse, Page of Cups. It's going to pour it out. So this will come to an end. And it's slow. So what does the disinfectant do? The sun with the moon. Ooh, shining light on the dark. Sun is a great disinfectant, everybody. Now, the Ace of Cups comes in with the Knight of Wands. This is interesting that the Page of Wands, so these are action cards. So what will the United States do? This is going to be, they're cutting off all of this. And the Knight of Wands is going to come in and kind of be like, we're going to make sure that none of this is going to happen again. This is the slow moving, the Eight of Wands in reverse, coupled with the Ace of Spades in reverse. Oh, so also known as the Ace of Swords. This means that this is like a slow justice, very slow justice, right? Oh, and by the way, don't forget, March 3rd, 2nd into the 3rd, is the eclipse, the lunar eclipse. Maybe this is a timing card. Maybe this is next week. Oh. Are they going to empty out the files? And by the way, pay attention to the politicians that are standing up for us. Please. Recognize, the Jamie Raskins. Recognize, oh my gosh. Let me tell you about Deepak Chopra. So what Lenny is talking about there, Deepak Chopra is in the Epstein files, and although it doesn't appear, and I don't know this yet, I haven't seen it yet, but that doesn't mean that it's not in existence. He basically gave Epstein comfort and access to people. And why Epstein was so obsessed with mathematics departments and eugenics things. Oh, one of the other incredibly disturbing emails was Hey, Bill, can't wait to see if we can pull off this pandemic. Signed 2015. Like, they can't, they haven't said which bill it was. Like, it's so fucking corrupt. Like, it's not even close. By the way, the cards can give you some comfort. And I know a few of the things were a little, but aren't we in the middle of, like, literally in the middle of, holy shit, did that just happen? Yeah, it kind of did. Here's the good news. Because we know it's getting better. We're in charge. How do we want this to look? Maybe it's taking roles in local government. Maybe it's making sure that our politicians are held accountable right out of the gate. And by the way, let's not ratchet it up so far that they can't be human. We all got stuff. We all got pasts. We all got tendencies. You know, we all have our quirks and that sort of thing. I'm talking about corruption. I'm talking about things that put other people in harm's way. I'm not talking about a bad relationship that where it's a he said, she said thing. That's not what I'm talking about. Everybody's got that. I'm talking about the things that make us go, why would you set people up to fail? Eh. I've been like that a little bit longer, but well, of course he did. Listen, the Vatican will not go quiet. Yeah, that's what a narcissist does, Elaine. 100%. He hurts people just to hurt people. And I think it's funny that for about 5 years, every single person that I talked to that was going through a divorce had the most narcissistic husband ever. And I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but let the people diagnose them. And I think we often misunderstand when people work in their own selfish ways. The difference between Machiavellianism and narcissism is, and they're kind of two separate things. Like, they're not like a spectrum of things, but when I point this out, you'll understand it. Machiavellianism is working towards your own benefit, but it's understanding that there's ramifications, but you don't necessarily care what the ramifications are, but you can understand somebody's point when you hurt them because you're doing something selfish. But your Machiavellianism is that your priorities are you, and then whatever happens after that. Narcissism operates from the standpoint of, I'm going to hurt you because I get off on hurting people. There's a huge difference. Most men, and I'm not trying to defend them, but here I am, will hurt people because they don't know. They just don't know. And do we take the time to show them? Do we take the time to say, don't you understand this? Well, I'm not going to be their mother. Fine. That's your choice. Those are your decisions. But I think most situations, women too, they're Machiavellian because they've been hurt in so many different ways that they're like, if I don't look out for myself, nobody else will. And then they get tagged as a narcissist because they go a little overboard, or they get a little vindictive towards people because they've just been hurt that many times. Narcissism is the planned pattern behavior to hurt other people. Donald Trump is a narcissist. He is 100% the problem that we have in this world. He represents all 7 sins. You know, let's do a little recap here. Let's see if he can. So you have pride. He's got plenty of that. Greed every day, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. He is without a doubt all 7 sins wrapped up into one. Right? Yeah, I mean, he just basically, excuse my French on this one, but it's a real term. In this, people like Osment and right? But Oz and Deepak and whatever, they're all, I'm going to use this word. Are you ready? They are star fuckers. They will go after whatever star will get them attention. They're pick-me girls. They have no backbone. They have no constitution. You know who I'd love to see be a politician? Mark Cuban. Do you know why? Because Mark Cuban said, Donald Trump's been a swarmy son of a bitch since the day I met with him. If I ever did business with him, I had to watch my back. But then again, that's just that business world. But I ain't inviting him over. He's not going near my kids. I love that you brought up Oprah. Oprah's an enabler, another star fucker. She just is. Oprah couldn't wait to get on there. I have a friend of mine who I coached them probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and their goal was to get on Oprah. Their goal was to get on. She wanted her book on Oprah's bestseller list. Then I made a few phone calls, talked to a few friends, and said, okay, you're going to hire this person. So it's a pay for play type of thing. You hire this consultant who, by the way, actually works for Oprah to be able to manicure your book, to come out with the final edition, to say what she needs it to say. Right? And by the way, they were going to take 50% of your cut because without it, you weren't going to make anything. And oh, by the way, they were going to own the rights to it if they ever wanted to do something with it. Make a movie, turn it into a series, a course, whatever. You could still have your name to it, but you were going to get a royalty. You weren't going to have control. Just ask Suze Ormond about that one. I'm telling you, the spiritual community has been poisoned for a really long time. Really long time. You know, that is also part of the reason why I've railed against traditional mediumship, because it was trying to control the narrative. No, Brandon, do not deliver it like that. Deliver it like this, because we need you to not be. I'm going to go ahead and be a full Leo rising here. Brandon, we need you to slow down because we can't keep up. Literally was how they approached me. Art on Wings. I'm assuming you're talking about Teabag. Yeah, 50% was kind of their minimum. It would go up higher if your stuff was a little more not mainstream. So once they found that out, I said, okay, so that consultant is going to be $34,000. Go get a mortgage. Run, Leo, run. That's funny, Cindy. But it was without a doubt, they want you compromised. That's my point to all of this. They want you compromised. If you are compromised, being compromised is part of the ticket, right? You know, Britney Spears has been dragged through the mud. And this is where I'll back her up. I don't really care for her music. I think she dances like an idiot. I think there's a lot of things missing for Britney Spears. But the part I'll back her up on was they wanted her to sell out to be a mouthpiece for other things. You know, kind of Katy Perry-ish. Kind of, oh my gosh, I'm looking right at him. How does Jay-Z end up with Beyonce? I'm not throwing shade, but he's no Ricky Martin. Time. How long did it take me to bring him up? Am I right or am I right, ladies? Living la vida loca. I just want to touch the abs. I'm not gay. I just want to feel them. I don't know. I have to go have a long, hard talk in the mirror again. But don't we understand, though, that he's aged wonderfully, Rita? I put snow in his a little bit. It might be. But don't you understand that the Epstein files, even this Tarrif stuff, it's about being compromised. This part, you know, and many of the roads lead back to Israel. Sorry, guys. And oh, by the way, the Israeli people, if they really wanted peace, they would not be fucking bombing 4 kilometers from their border. I'm sorry. None of that logically fits. You've got warmongers in charge. Netanyahu is a warmonger. He does not want peace. Putin is a warmonger. He does not want peace. Trump does not want peace. But by the way, he can have somebody from within the White House have a Kalshi bet on whether or not Venezuela gets bombed at 99.9 to 1 and have $4 million on it. Come on. It's worse than Pete Rose betting on himself. Ricky Martin actually has 2 Super Bowl appearances. He backed up Lady Gaga too, I think. And congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. I haven't been on live in a little bit. Well-fought game. The Patriots were underwhelming. And that halftime show was really awesome. It was just fantastic. It was energetic. It was exciting. It told a story. You didn't need to understand the language to understand the story. Unless, of course, you're tone deaf or a white Christian nationalist that's offended that they're in your backyard doing the work that you're afraid to do. Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I'm a Sam Darnold fan. And listen, the Vikings didn't do wrong by letting him go. They weren't going to make him starter day one. They were going to make him compete for the position. Could it have been better in the long term? I don't know. But I'm glad he did a very pedestrian job, but that team's so well built, they needed a good quarterback. They didn't need a great quarterback. They needed a good quarterback. And if he gets those accolades, so be it. I'm a Sam Darnold fan since he was picked 3rd by the Jets, which I cannot follow Jets football anymore. The last 3 years have been unwatchable for more ways than one. Yeah, the ladies hockey team is not going to the White House. Sweet. Yeah, I mean, listen, and I give them kudos. I also understand. I'm going to say this as somebody that's been competitive. If I wanted my experience to be the White House, Washington, D.C. trip as part of my experience and they wanted to go, I kind of get it. But I would just talk shit when I got there. Hey, are you going to bomb anybody today? Can I sit in the White House seat? Is this the Oral Office? Is this where you were banging your assistant? Is this where you were? I'm sorry. Sometimes I say things. What you can do, detain me for being truthful? I'm just curious. You said there's no wrong questions. There's no bad questions. Excuse me, President Trump, is your taint also golden? Yeah, I give them, and I also give respect to the people that are just like, I'm not going to put up with that. Yeah, you caught that, huh? I might have. But I think it's time that and this is where I'm at. I can accept both answers now. I can accept both answers, so long as they're not compromised somewhere else. I mean, Trump's going to want you for a photo shoot. Okay. Does Trump want you to pledge your allegiance as you walk through the door? I'm not bowing down to anybody. Right? I wouldn't get a second question. I might. I'd shout it out the door. Yeah, it's funny. The one kid that he tried to like shit shame. Yeah, Art on Wings. It was not him. I think I even said it might have been Liam, but it was not Liam. And he even said, I wanted to give myself, my younger self, a Grammy to say that I could do it, which that was even more powerful. He said all he needed to politically. Cleopatra's golden tongue was a whole other thing. That was because she could speak well, ladies. Some of you got that one. Right? All right, guys. The good news is, yeah, it certainly was wild. I got excited when I go, that is so cool. And I actually didn't even put the Liam thing together until I saw some clips of people saying, isn't this Liam or is this Liam or whatever. And then Bad Bunny came out and quickly said, oh, also another thing with the naming of things, I'm saying Bad Bunny, and of course that's not his name. By the way, you know who should be pissed about the Bad Bunny halftime show? Pitbull. He got glossed over big time. But anyways, we're going to find out that there are aliases you're going to find a lot, just like they have a lot of they're going to have a whole dictionary of what these other things, like who Bubba really was. Trump was using a pseudonym. It's John Bannon, I think. John Barron. We're going to see that come to light in a whole new way. Yeah, Pitbull did, but he didn't headline it. John Barron, yeah. Pay attention to this, because I think you're also going to see other names that are alias names. Glad this worked out. I'm sorry that my technical chops are sideways. Seeing new clips, getting close to putting together the movie. I'm busy, guys. It's kind of cool. But oh my God. Yes, that. Oh, and while we're at it, can we dig up Donald Trump's first wife and just make sure? Who buries their ex-wife on a fucking golf course? It's like Bass Pro Shops having an aquarium and calling themselves a museum. I think it is. At a minimum, it is a very weird obsession. Oh, the alien things are coming. I mean, the alien things will 100% be here. But I'm going to tell you, as somebody that can make contact, I just want to let you know that There's safety in numbers. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, listen, heart taps. Good to see you guys. If you're in upstate New York, I hope to see you at the free Sound Healing at the Goes Library. That's funny. And Florida, I'm seeing you guys buy some tickets. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you. And I think I did. I'm going to take a look. I've just been knee deep in trying to get this technology lined up. I'll see you guys soon. Keep going. Class tomorrow. Edgar Casey for the Weekly B. By the way, you can sign up for the Weekly B still. Intuitive development. We're going to be talking about near-death experience. Past lives. The connection of the soul. The arc of the soul. It's kind of a thing. I'll see you guys soon. Keep going.